Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today we are going to be planting an herb container. Putting it in a container because herbs have a tendency to spread where you don't want them to go. And some of these herbs can spread by roots, so you don't want them actually in your garden, in the soil of your garden. So the general practice is to put them into containers to keep them from spreading too far in your garden. We actually got a comment from a subscriber that asked us to do the core gardening method in a large container instead of in a raised bed to see how that works. So I'm going to be planting 2 of these herb containers, one down here in my vegetable garden and one up in my food forest. Both are going to be in full sun and get the same treatment. The one down here is going to get the core, and that's the one I'm going to show you today. And the one in the food forest is going to get straight soil, no core, which is going to be pure mushroom compost in both of them. I'm going to have the same plants in both of them too to make it a fair comparison, and we're going to keep track going through the weeks of our tours and check on it to see how it's doing and if one's doing better than the other. Okay, let's get started. Puppy's going to be waiting by with flat soccer ball. Puppy's gonna be on standby waiting with his flat soccer ball instead of the nice pumped up soccer. Puppy's gonna be on the sidelines just waiting in view. He's got his flat volleyball instead of the new volleyball that I just got him, but that's fine. We're gonna get planted. Okay, hopefully you can hear me. Here is my large container I'm gonna be using. It is a pipe cutting, about maybe 24 inches inside diameter and a good 20 or so inches tall. We have grass underneath here and I don't want that. So what I'm going to be doing, using this fabric, laying it down over the grass so it doesn't come up into my pot and the roots from my pot doesn't go down into the soil. Puppy, what are you doing, bud? Hey, over. Puppy getting in the way. This is where I'm gonna have it. What are you doing? Get on my shot. Stop. Move. Over. Tunnel. Okay, go. Okay, we got the landscaping fabric laid down. I just used this big piece. You don't need to use that big of a piece, but it's what I have, so I'm going to use it. Here is, you can see it's some rotted down straw. So it's been wet and weathered. It's a good heaping 8 inches of straw. That's going to be my core for this container garden. Put this on top. Just like that, we have a core for a large container. Now I'm going to fill it with mushroom compost and start planting. Probably just do them in a ring with the marigold in the center. Alright, I got it filled up. It's all the way to the top because this is gonna settle. If I learned anything from doing the core gardening method in my raised bed, Then, okay, we did not get any of that footage because my memory card was full and the video stopped. I didn't realize it, so I'm already planted up here. What I was saying was that my core in my raised bed sunk, so I didn't hump it up enough to counteract for the drop in straw level, because the straw is going to start compacting and decomposing as the season goes on, and that's going to drop the soil level. So you need to hump up the area you put your core in to prevent that from affecting your crop that's in there during the season. Here it is completely a core because the whole bottom of the pot is straw. So what I did was just put as much compost in as I could, and hopefully it'll drop evenly and the plants will be fine with it. I'm going to be putting a exact copy of this container up in the food forest, getting direct sun, the same as this one, all day long. So it'll be a good comparison, because this one has a core in it and the other one will not. And they're going to be planted with the same plants and getting the same treatment. We'll be able to do a nice comparison of that. Puppy's gonna be sitting here in the shade while I go out there in the sun. All right, here is my second pot that I'm gonna be starting. It's also gonna be in full sun. I'll be putting it right there on the wood chips. So I'm gonna need to rake out the wood chips, and then I'll be putting some fabric down, put the container on top of the fabric, fill it completely up with mushroom compost, and then start planting. Container is all filled up, and I got my plants over here. Got it filled to the brim. Like I said, this one has no core in it, so I'm going to be doing it the same exact way as the other one. Whatever plants I put into this one, I'm putting into the other one, all the same. As with the fertilizer, I'm using Trifecta Plus from MI Gardener, and it tells me I need to be doing a quarter cup, or no, 3 tablespoons per plant twice a year for perennial herbs, 3 tablespoons per plant once a year for annual herbs. I'm putting perennial and annual herbs in here, as well as some marigolds. So I'm going to be doing 3 tablespoons per plant, and I think that's going to work out just fine. Puppy is over by the barn catching some shade now. You see his ears? Just peeking up there. Gotta always look for those ears when I'm finding him. He's always looking at me though. Alright, hopefully you can hear me. And get this leveled off here. Okay, so I am putting in parsley, spearmint, some thyme, rosemary, oregano, sage, and chives, as well as a jaguar marigold directly in the center. However, I did not bring that over yet. Just going to show you How I'm going to plant these, I'm just going to make a hole with my hand. Since I got fresh compost in here, there's really no resistance. Go ahead and make a hole for each one of them to make it simple. Okay, I got all my holes. Going to take my Trifecta Plus and I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons, roughly, in each planting hole before I start. That should be good. Now the planting part is very simple. You go ahead, squeeze the bottom a little bit, drop it out of the cup, work that fertilizer in, drop your plant and backfill. Make sure you go ahead and press down. You want to go ahead and press down pretty firmly on the soil, because without that, once it starts watering in, your root ball of the plant can stick up through, and you don't want that. You want it to be completely buried, especially when it's hot like this. We got 90-degree days right now, early spring, which is kind of abnormal, but pretty normal for the past 3 years. I'm going to get these all settled in here, and then I'll bring you in close, show you what it looks like. Now this container is all finished up. I got the spearmint right here, the sage, I believe that's the oregano, the chives, the thyme, and the parsley, with the marigold in the middle. So I have 2 identical pots, one with a core, one without. We're going to see what kind of watering schedule I have to do with each of these, because they're both going to get full sun and they both have the same plants in them. I think it'll be a nice comparison to keep a lookout during our weekly garden updates. So if you want to follow along, see how these things do and whether or not you should be putting a straw core in your large containers, then go ahead and follow along. For more gardening ideas and to follow along with the garden on how it progresses during the season, and you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching.